The following program is an Animal House radio production.
So it's kind of interesting.
Very interesting. Dr. Mike's nutritional nuggets are brought to you by Dealing with Dogs. Lifestyle obedience for you and your puppy. Serving Oakville, Toronto, Mississauga, and Burlington. To call Dealing with Dogs, please call 905-469-1555 or visit them online at www.dealingwithdogs.com. Now, you've mentioned a few different points. Now, today what we're going to talk about and what you've talked about today throughout the whole day, pretty much on CBC,
right,
and you and I have chit-chatted about, is Barack Obama. Now, the story is getting old. The story is getting old. The story is getting old. I don't want to repeat myself once again because you're going to yell at me.
Repeating is getting old, too.
You know what we should do? We should have like a little, like a
shocker?
A little noise. Every time he says the word wonderful, or that's great, or all right. And anytime I repeat myself more than twice, you got to do these like little shocks where somebody gets shocked.
I'm hip.
You're so not hip. You just said I'm hip. This is ridiculous.
I'm hip about that concept, I mean.
Oh, see, how could you come up with this? I'm hip about that concept, young man.
All right. Moving along.
So this Barack Obama dog dilemma, it just will not go away. So this is our feature topic. Now, please call the show. We're giving out tons of prizes today. We've got some stuff from Contact. We got some stuff from PetMate, from Pet Stages. We've got lots of stuff to give away. We're going to give tons of stuff away. Scoop free, tons of stuff. 416-785-0680. We have orthopedic beds that retail for over $100. You know what? We're going to give it away. If you have an opinion on this, 416-785-0680. Once again, Barack Obama, here's the issue. His child is allergic to dogs, is allergic to cats, is allergic to movies, okay? His kid is allergic to everything. And this is what I don't understand. It is such a topic. CNN is covering it every day. NBC is covering it every day. Mike, tell me, what is the deal with them being allergic to this stuff? And why is it such a big deal? Is it just because he's the president, obviously?
No, you know what? 15%, believe it or not, 15% of people in North America are allergic to pets. I actually looked that one up because I didn't know how many people were. It's amazing. 15%. That's a huge sector of the population.
Yeah.
And what are they allergic to? They're allergic to the same thing dogs are allergic to when it comes to food. It's a certain protein that is located either in the dog's saliva or in the dog's urine, or more commonly in the dander of the dog, which is the dead skin that every dog sloughs off on a regular basis every day. And it's this protein that people are allergic to. Now, the toughest thing about allergies to dogs is every person's going to have a different allergy to even the same dog. So you can take one person and they're going to have, and you put them in front of a dog and they're going to have a different response than another person who also has an allergy to dogs. So it's really tough to know, even if you got her this hypoallergenic dog, her response is going to be different no matter what. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things where it doesn't always mean that, oh, this dog's going to cause an allergy to this person, and vice versa. So,
well, you know, it's funny that you say that because, to use an example, Deborah, when she adopted DeBobs, her cat, when she first met the cat, DeBobs, she had a terrible allergic reaction to the cat.
Right.
Came home and she was crying and she asked me to come over and help her, and I did. And I gave her some antihistamines and stuff like that. But then she said, I'm going to give it another try. And the following day she went back and she wasn't allergic to the cat. And she's had DeBobs now for a year, and she's not allergic to DeBobs at all. So did
she go to a shelter to get DeBobs? Because maybe she was allergic to another cat at the shelter. See, that's my guess, is either she was allergic to a dog at the shelter or another cat at the shelter, and she thought it was DeBobs, but it really wasn't.
That is a very good point. That is a very good point. That's, and I guess this sometimes happens in shelters when people go in there, and it could just be because one time I went to a clinic, to your clinic, and I walked in and I remember you
were really bad. Your eyes were swelling up, and it was pretty bad. So there was obviously some type of animal in the clinic you were obviously allergic to.
We could have pinpointed to one. So you know what? That's an interesting fact. I never thought that if just going into a shelter in general, and just, hey, you never know, something's in the air.
Right. And you know what scares me about his daughter is that they talk about getting a puppy, and what my fear is that you're going to get a puppy, and let's say she's fine with the puppy. Well, a puppy has puppy fur or puppy hair, whatever you want to call it. And what ends up happening as this dog ages and changes the coat to an adult coat, she might be allergic to that. Yeah, or vice versa. She might be allergic to the dog as a puppy, and then when it matures to an adult stage, she might not be allergic to it at all. So the negative about getting a puppy for Mr. Obama's daughter is that she might change either to become allergic to it or lose her allergy to it, depending on the situation
Now,
that she has.
you brought up a really good point during the week about the White House having other dogs there for years to come,
Right.
and have they
Just kinda
cleaned
worried
out
about that, too.
You know, I mean,
Exactly.
I'm looking at some history right now. George W. Bush, who's not the dog, but he's the president. George W. Bush, he has a couple of Scottish Terriers, and he's got a cat. Bill Clinton had a cat, and he had a Labrador Retriever.
All these animals, by the way, you just mentioned, are very allergenic.
Exactly.
Just so you know.
So,
they all shed. They all. Yeah.
Ronald Reagan had a dog,
A Bouvier.
a Bouvier, and he had horses.
Yeah.
Not inside the White House, I don't think. That'd be funny, eh?
No, but he also had a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. I remember that, and that dog is also another very allergenic dog.
So as you can see, once again, there is a history, and even going back to Gerald Ford, had a golden retriever, had a Siamese cat. Richard Nixon had a Cocker Spaniel, had a poodle, had a terrier, an Irish. Wow, for one of the biggest crooks, he had a ton of dogs. Let me tell you. You go back all the way to the guy who dropped the bomb, Mr. Truman. Once again, another Cocker Spaniel.
Yeah, neat.
John F. Kennedy. Look how many dogs John F. Kennedy had.
Yeah, pretty impressive. Yeah,
Oh my!
lots.
Wow,
Probably
cats.
about 20.
Yeah, wow. You know what? I never knew
The
that.
long, the short is, I think the White House.
He also
duck
had a
groomers need to
rabbit
come around. Yeah,
named Zasa.
Okay.
Yeah, but needless to say, there is a history in the White House of dogs who obviously are not
hypoallergenic.
Yeah, and this is kind of I think people are saying this because making this an issue because this is other than having an African American president for the first time, we're dealing with something where hey, someone isn't allergic to an animal for the first time. You're going to have in the White House a dog that has to be bred specially or a dog that's found specially for this. Now, Peru has offered a hairless dog.
Yeah.
Now, on CBC, when I was watching you this morning, I thought the hairless dog was you. But I love you, buddy. I'm just kidding. No, but you know what? It's and you said it right. You said it best when you were on the air. You said there's nothing wrong with the dogs. It's just awkward because they have no hair. It's
if they have no hair, the problem is if the person's truly allergic to the dander, which sits on the skin,
it doesn't matter.
No hair.
It
you're
doesn't
going to
matter.
get closer to the dander when you go to hug the dog or kiss the dog or whatever you're going to do. It's just going to be even sometimes short-haired dogs are even more of a problem than long-haired dogs.
So, do you think Peru is doing this just to say, hey, this is our little weapon?
So let's talk about the dogs that Mr. Obama should think about. I mean, one of them is sitting in the other room there. Kareem, my standard poodle. My mother-in-law has a violent allergy to dogs. That's why I was on CBC this morning trying to show her that my dog, my mother-in-law is fine with my dog. And she also has a Bichon Frise, which is another dog that's hypoallergenic. These are dogs that don't shed, which is one of the factors that if they shed a lot, obviously the dander is going to go with the hair, so it's going to be everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's what worries me about all the previous dogs that were in the White House. I mean, where's the hair? It's probably everywhere. I mean, regardless of how well you vacuum, there's going to be these allergens in the air.
Yeah.
In the ducts.
And you know what? I want people's opinion on this. 416-785-0680. 416-785-0680. Do not be shy. Get on the lines because I think society in general right now is making a big deal out of this.
Oh, it's a cute story. It
is a cute story, but I mean, considering in his first ever press conference,
he said 3 words.
The third question that he was asked was about this dog scandal. And it's being called the dog scandal. It is. Yes, you have PETA, you have all these organizations who are screaming at him by saying, you have to get a rescue animal, you have to. You're a terrible person if you don't. Everybody is jumping on this bandwagon.
Yeah.
And you know what? Let the guy just have a pet. Let him get a dog for his daughter.
Well, one thing I was saying to him, if he was going to adopt an animal from a shelter, I don't have a problem with that. I think that's great.
You were talking directly to President-elect Obama this morning.
I was, yeah, sure I was.
It was being relayed.
That would have been nice. So, but if he did, I think that most shelters, at least a lot of the shelters that I've talked to here, have a sort of try before you buy concept where they'll let you take the dog home for a week or two. They certainly, I think they would know right away whether she was having a problem with the dog or not. So if she gets in there and sees this dog and doesn't have a problem, then they can go home. And I think what we need to talk about next is, okay, let's say they choose the dog, whatever the dog may be, and they get the dog home. What can they do at home and what other people who are allergic to dogs can do to try and prevent if they have, let's say, a mild allergy to the dog, because some people don't have this, anaphylactic reaction. They just get a little, like what you had. It wasn't, well, mind you, had a bad reaction. But some people come in my clinic and they just have a little bit of a sniffly nose or a little bit runny eyes, and which means that they're allergic to something in the air there, one of the dogs, one of the cats, but they're not violently allergic.